I would love to start off by finding out how did Bram Stoker's Dracula came to be.
Wow. Okay. Um, I grew up on the Hammer films, the Peter Cushing and Christopher Plummer Draculas, and always thought they were very campy and not very scary, and and I mean, even drive-in movies. Took a date to see uh, Dracula versus Billy the Kid, which had David Carradine in it, and John Carradine in it, and Bob Evans of all people played Billy the Kid, who went on to run Paramount. Um, and mostly these were, I mean, I was never afraid of them. And then in the 1970s, a friend of mine, business partner, said, "Let's do Dracula." And I went, "It's never," I said, "It's been done 100 times. It's why." And I read the book. I read the Stoker novel, which I'd never read. Um, and it blew me away because it was completely different than any Dracula film that I'd ever seen. And that was because all the early Dracula films were based on a play by Balderson and Dean, which is how Bela Lugosi became famous by making women faint in the theater. I couldn't figure out why, but that's where all the movies came from. I read the novel, and it was this giant, sweeping, epic, gothic kind of romance and with a John Ford shootout at the end and a Texan with a Bowie knife. And I was from Texas, so I went, "Oh my God, nobody's ever put a Texan with a Bowie knife in a Dracula movie." And I started trying at that point to get some interest in it. I met Leonard Wolf, who's no longer with us, but Leonard Wolf was the leading scholar on the dark side of all of us. He was born in Transylvania. He wrote the annotated Dracula, which is the definitive Dracula. And I spent, uh, several years trying to get people to do it. And they kept saying, "No, no, no, it's been done. We don't need it." Uh, and I kept saying, "Have you read the book?" Well, in our business, nobody reads the book. And then two producers, Robert O'Connor and Michael Apted, great director, both of which who have also left us way too soon. Um, they said, "Okay, we'll do it." And everybody in town turned it down. And we got it developed for a USA Network TV film with Karen Moore, who I remain indebted to because she put it in development. Nobody else would touch it. This is the same time I'm writing Hook. I'm writing Hook and Dracula at the same time. Nobody wanted
Hmm.
to do either one of them. Hook was turned down everywhere. Dracula was turned down everywhere. And I was working on Dracula for as a TV movie and Hook as a very lowball development deal at Sony. And when I turned the script in, uh, well, first of all, I'd never seen Dracula portrayed as a sacred knight defending the cross of Christ. That's in the Stoker novel.
Hmm.
That was the historic Dracula. He was uh, uh, a hero of Christianity. And that was the first big leap for me was, wait a minute, we've never seen that. Nobody's done a Dracula who was fighting a religious war. And when Karen read the script, she said, "Jim, we can't make this for $2 million." And I said, "I know." It's no, you can't. So she gave it back to me for 1 year. She had to fight to do that. Her bosses did not want to put it in turnaround because then somebody might go do something with it and make them all look foolish. She got the script back to us in turnaround for 1 year. She said, and I got it. She said, 1 year to the date, if you don't have this set up somewhere else, I have to take it away from you. And you're not going to like what we do to it. So in that year, we tried everything to get people interested. And finally, Winona Ryder was looking for a way to change her teeny bopper idol, her kind of, that teen queen thing she was
Hmm.
doing. She wanted to do a more grown up role. And every agent in town gave her a pile of scripts. They were trying to steal her. And when people came back to her and said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" She said, "I want to do Dracula." And they all are going, "Why? Why? Why?" I mean, that was at the bottom of the pile. And she said, "Well, have you read the script?" And And this is all unbeknownst to me at the time. So Winona came on to wanted to do Dracula, and she called Francis Coppola and said, I want to ask if she could send him the script to read to get his advice about whether or not it's a role she should do in her career. And the story that was told to me was that Francis called her back and said, you absolutely should play this role. And oh, by the way, who's directing? Uh, and that was how Francis Coppola got involved in Dracula. And I had tried, this was 1990. I had been trying since 1977 to get it made. And then when Francis came on with Winona Ryder, every studio in town turned the project down.
Really?
Except one, Sony. Yeah, everybody turned it down with Francis and Winona. He was just coming off of Godfather 3, which was a big disaster, and I think people were spooked with him. And he wanted to make a completely different kind of film and go back to his old days when he started working for Roger Corman. So, and literally, we're the clock is ticking on the year. And finally, literally the last week of that year, Sony came on board, um, and so they make the deal for Francis and Winona and my script, uh, and took it on board. Um, and this was the same time that Hook was going through the same thing. Everybody in town turned Hook down until Spielberg read it, and suddenly these two scripts that nobody wanted to do had the two most legendary filmmakers in my lifetime attached to direct. Um, I'm still grateful to Karen Moore. We're still friends. I thank her every chance I get. We just screened Dracula in Santa Fe, where she's lived for years. And if she hadn't given that script back to me, it would have been a TV movie that nobody would have wanted to watch.